Hi, welcome to Esther's Gardening Adventures. I'm Esther, and today I'm going to take you with me through my entire process from start to finish of how I plan out my pepper and eggplant bed for this coming year. I hope this video will be helpful to you, even if you've done some gardening before. It'll help prompt some thought process and maybe it'll have some tips. I'd also love to hear your thoughts at the end of this video on anything I've done, any recommendations or things you might do differently, because this is definitely a work in process at all times, a work in progress at all times. You're going to hear me talk a lot about jugs, about winter sowing, things like that. And winter sowing is basically a process where you use milk jugs or things like that as mini greenhouses as sort of a substitute for growing seedlings indoors for your spring and summer garden. If you want to know more about the winter sowing process, I've done an entire series, which I'm still adding to, on Winter Sowing 101. So check out that series, but I thought I'd give you some basics in case you just don't have time or you are more interested in this video. All right. So what I'm going to do here is first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I sketch out the garden bed. Doing a sketch, which I change probably at least a half dozen times before I actually plant out. But doing a sketch at least gives me an idea of how much space I have for different types of vegetables and herbs and flowers, and therefore how many I need to plant up in my jugs for my seedlings. So that is part of why the process is, but it also helps me decide things like where the sunlight's coming from, where I'm going to need trellising, although in this case the bed I'm planting doesn't really need any heavy trellising, primarily stakes. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I do my pepper and eggplant bed, and let me talk you through quickly what you see here. For starters, this is just a representation of each square is 1 square foot of the bed. It's 7 by 4 at its widest, and 7 by 3 at its shortest, or narrowest, I guess. And so I just drew out basic this just helps me kind of figure out how to visualize it. Basically, I like to use the square foot gardening method employed by Mel Bartholomew. This isn't a pure square foot gardening method because I'm probably not going to have, in the proper square foot gardening method, you would actually put down string or something that when you're on the actual bed, whereas I'm probably not going to do that. But this gives me an idea of, the reason you do this is this gives you an idea of kind of where you're going to lay things out, kind of your options. It helps you think through priorities. And also, in this case, one of the reasons you do this is you figure out, the first thing you figure out on this is you go, okay, which direction is the sun coming from? So for me, for this bed, the sun comes this direction, and that means that I'm going to want the shortest plants of the ones I'm planning on growing for this bed on this end, because I don't want to have a tall plant that then casts a shadow on other plants and keeps them from getting sun. So you want to plant from shortest to tallest, and if you're doing trellises, you also take that into consideration, but none of these require any kind of trellising. Alright, so first of all, let's go through what we have. We have banana peppers, we have jalapeno, we have Jimmy Nardello Italian pepper, and I need to be careful flipping this around because I got 2 envelopes in here. Okay, this is a sweet pepper. We have poinsettia, which is something I got from Morris Patch of Heaven Homestead. A Japanese Nagasaki long pepper, fish pepper, and then we also have marigolds. And did I? Yes, it's all in here. Okay, so it's 6 peppers, eggplant, and marigolds. Now I know already that I'm going to want to put marigolds in the front of the bed. So I'm going to do, I might do pen here. I might regret this, but okay, marigolds. And I know I'm going to do here, I'm putting a 1 for 1 marigold. And the other thing to mention here is that when I'm doing this, with the square foot gardening method, some plants take up more than 1 square and some take up only 1 square. And Mel Bartholomew kind of figured out the process. In the case of peppers, he recommends 1 pepper plant per square. Same with eggplants. And then marigolds, I've looked at the sizing, and they could really use between it says 8 to 12 inches. So you're probably safe even doing 2 marigolds per square if you really wanted to, but they tend to bush up a lot, I've noticed, so I'm just going to do 1 marigold per square. The other thing is the reason I'm including a marigold in here is because 1, they're pretty, and 2, because they can help draw in pollinators and beneficial insects to the garden, which is a part of my goal of making sure everything's pollinated, but also having predators to eat any pests and things like that. So, okay, there's the marigold. And then the next one is fish pepper. Fish pepper is probably the shorter. Now, most pepper plants are about 2 feet tall of this kind, of the ones I have here. They can get a little bit taller, but about 2 feet. But the fish pepper tend to have smaller leaves, not quite as bushy, and the peppers themselves are smaller. So I'm going to put fish peppers on the short end, on the not casting a long shadow. Eggplants, I don't know exactly how big the Nagasaki long plants can get, but I've seen Thai eggplants and things like that get up to 4 feet tall. So I'm probably going to put that on the far end here. And then for the poinsettia peppers, I've seen they can bush out pretty bad, or pretty good, because you like them bushing out. So they'll probably go on the tall end. And then the other ones are kind of not important in terms of where in the garden they go in between those 2 areas. So let's start with the short and the long. So fish pepper, I love fish peppers, but they while they produce a lot of little peppers, they are little. So I'm going to want more of those kinds of peppers. So I'm going to do, I'd like to probably have 4 fish pepper plants. So let's do fish, 1, 1, because it's 1 per square. And then, yeah, fish. All right, and that gives us 4. Put that over here. Then the other one, I know that we're only probably going to want 1 of these because we know that I don't know what they taste like. I don't know what they're like when they grow, and I don't know if it's going to be anything other than decorative. But I'm really curious to try it out, and that's half the fun of gardening, right? Is just trying out new things. So I'm going to do the poinsettia pepper over here. And I'm probably only going to do 1, but I'm going to keep that here. I'm going to table that for now in case I have extra space later. And for the eggplants, you can also do 1 per square. So I'm going to do eggplant. And since I'm only doing 1 type of eggplant, I don't have to be specific here. 1. All right. Now, I know I want a lot of Jimmy Nardello and jalapeno, and I'm missing one. Where's my other? Aha! I'm missing one. I knew I was missing one. Ancho peppers. These are the poblano peppers. Those big, green, thick-walled peppers that are just wonderful. These are like, I haven't grown them yet, but these are one of my favorite peppers to eat. You can cook them. You can roast them over a flame, either on your gas-fired stove or over a grill, and they steam on the inside, and they get this beautiful, smoky, peppery flavor that's just amazing just about anything. But I love to do them with stir-fries with mushrooms and chicken and short-grained rice. So I know I want a lot of these, and the sweet banana peppers, I'm really not sure how many I want. So I'm probably going to keep these and see what I can fit in. But I know I want a lot of these. So I'm probably going to do 4 ancho peppers. And because they have a bigger fruit, I'm going to guess that they probably might be a little taller than some of the others. I don't know for sure. So I'm going to do, okay, there's 4. Takes care of that. The jalapenos, now I brought in, peppers are actually perennial plants. And I brought in 3 pepper plants to overwinter them into the house this winter, and only the jalapeno plant, 1 plant, has thus far survived. But I still want 4, so I'm going to do, should I do Jimmy Nardello next or jalapeno? I'm going to do jalapeno next. Yeah. And I'm actually going to plan to have this go across both, and if that one that's indoors ends up surviving, it's probably going to get big because it's going to be its second year. So I'm just going to put indoor here. So I remember that I want to do the indoor plant here. And then I'm going to do another jalapeno plant here. Okay. Now we have Jimmy Nardello, and I want at least 4, and it looks like I'll have 2 left over afterwards, so, or 2-ish. So Jimmy, Jimmy, and Jimmy. Okay, so I have a plan here. I'm going to do 2 banana peppers. And I'm going to kind of cram them into this area. And I'll figure out, I'll sort of like maybe have one like in this corner-ish, and then one like sort of over here to kind of help give it space. But we'll see. I may end up doing a jalapeno. Yeah, we'll see. All right. So now we've planned this out, and what I need to do now is I need to think, are there, so for my winter sowing jugs, I normally do up to 5 expected plants per jug for peppers. Maybe 6 if you're really pushing it. Excuse me. So I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to plan for, we know we have 4 Jimmies. That's 1 jug. Actually, no, I'm going to write these out. So let's start from the top. Marigold, 4 times 2, so I know why I have 2 jugs. Eggplant. So my mom says she wants some eggplants, so I know I'm going to want to grow at least 4 plants. So I'm going to do 1 jug of that. Poinsettia. For the poinsettias, I'm going to do a half jug, which is those tall half-gallon jugs, because I really only need to put 2 plants in there. Make sure I have at least 2 plants. For the ancho peppers, we got 4. So, whoops, I meant to do 2 here, 4 here. That means 1. I hope I can remember that properly. Let's see, we got marigolds, eggplants, poinsettia, ancho, jalapeno. We know we want at least 4 plants. That's 1 jug. Banana. And because I might change my mind about how many bananas I want or whether I do some in a container or something else in a container, I'm going to plan for 4 for 1 jug. My Jimmy Nardellos, we got 4, so that's 1 jug. And my fish peppers, it's 1 jug. And so there we go. So it looks like I need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. 8.5 jugs. That helps me plan. That's it for today. I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what peppers you're growing, how you plan on spacing them out, if you plan on including flowers, things like that. Also your thoughts on the eggplant ideas. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you aren't already a subscriber, please consider doing so. And otherwise, I'll see you next time.